The obsidian chamber stretched 1,000 meters in every direction, its walls carved from a single piece of starstone that predated most civilizations in the known galaxy. Ryan Cole wiped the grease from his calloused hands onto his worn jumpsuit, squinting at the massive construct before him. The thing was beautiful in a terrifying way, a mechanical giant that seemed to drink in the dim light rather than reflect it. You humans are incapable of following simple instructions. Emperor Valkor's voice echoed through the chamber, his forearms gesticulating wildly as his translator chip struggled to convey his mounting frustration. The Krell Emperor's chitinous faceplates shifted through colors, from the deep purple of annoyance to the crimson of genuine alarm. Ryan shrugged, his attention fixed on the Titan's central core. You hired me because your own engineers couldn't figure out why it wouldn't start. Been sitting here for what, 3,000 years? 5,217 of your Earth years, Valkor corrected sharply. And there is a profound difference between examining and touching. But Ryan wasn't listening anymore. He'd found something, a seam in the Titan's chest plate that didn't match the rest of the architecture. His curiosity, that uniquely human trait that had carried his species from caves to the stars, urged him forward. His fingers traced the edge, feeling for the mechanism. The architects who built this left very specific warnings, Valkor continued, his voice taking on a lecturer's tone that Ryan had learned to tune out. Warnings that my civilization has heeded for millennia. This machine was never meant to— Don't handle that! The Emperor's scream came too late. Ryan's hand had already pressed into the recessed panel, and something ancient stirred to life. The sensation hit Ryan like a shockwave, not physical, but something deeper. Information flooded into his mind, star charts of galaxies long dead, mathematical theorems that made Einstein look like a schoolchild, the birth screams of 100 civilizations. His consciousness expanded and contracted simultaneously, and for one infinite moment, Ryan Cole understood everything. The Titan's eyes ignited, twin suns of pure energy that bathed the chamber in white light. Valkor stumbled backward, all forearms raised defensively. Impossible. The architects coded their machines to respond only to their own genetic signatures. No species in 8,000 years has been able to. Maybe your people were trying the wrong approach, Ryan gasped, his hand still fused to the panel. He could feel the Titan now, not as a machine but as an extension of himself. It was hungry, not for fuel or energy, but for purpose. Maybe it wasn't looking for a specific race. Maybe it was looking for a specific quality. The mechanical giant's head turned, servos that hadn't moved in 5 millennia groaning to life. Dust and ancient lubricants showered down like black rain. The Titan took one step forward and the entire planet trembled. Stop it, Valkor commanded. The architects abandoned these weapons for a reason. They fought a war that consumed galaxies, that turned entire star clusters into graveyards. When they finally achieved peace, they locked these instruments of destruction away, encoded them so that only someone curious enough to touch what they shouldn't, Ryan finished, finally understanding. The connection between his hand and the Titan began to fade, but the bond remained. They didn't lock these things away from everyone. They locked them away from the careful ones, from the cautious ones. The Titan straightened to its full height, its head nearly scraping the chamber's ceiling. Ryan felt its question ripple through his consciousness, not in words, but in pure intent. What purpose shall I serve? Valkor's color plates had gone completely white, the Krell equivalent of abject terror. Human, you have no comprehension of what you've done. That machine has enough destructive power to crack worlds, to reignite the fires that once nearly extinguished all sentient life. My civilization has guarded this tomb for our entire recorded history, ensuring that nothing would ever. Your civilization has been sitting on this for 5,000 years. Doing nothing with it, Ryan interrupted, his voice steady despite the cosmic forces coursing through him. You've been so afraid of what it could do that you never considered what it should do. He looked up at the Titan, at this relic of a war older than human history. Through their connection, he could feel its programming, its core directives. The architects hadn't built a weapon, not really. They'd built a tool, one so powerful that it required someone too curious to be deterred by warnings, too bold to let fear dictate action, someone human. The architects didn't abandon these machines because they were too dangerous, Ryan said quietly. They abandoned them because their own people became too civilized to use them, too cautious, too controlled. He finally pulled his hand free from the panel, flexing his fingers. They were waiting for someone stupid enough to push the button just to see what happens. Velkor's mandibles clicked together. A sound Ryan had learned meant deep contemplation. And now that it has awakened? Now that a human is bonded with an architect titan? Ryan grinned, that reckless expression that had gotten him into, and out of, more trouble than he could count. Now we figure out what needs fixing in this galaxy. Because I didn't spend 6 months in hyperspace just to leave this thing collecting dust. The Titan's eyes pulsed once, acknowledging its new purpose. Above them, through layers of starstone and steel, the stars waited. Emperor Velkor realized, with the weight of 5,000 years of carefully maintained peace pressing down on him, that everything was about to change. The humans had arrived in the galaxy only a century ago, and already they were rewriting rules that civilizations far older had considered immutable. He should have known. Humanity had a saying that his translators had struggled to properly convey. Curiosity killed the cat, but they always left off the second part. Satisfaction brought it back. As Ryan Cole walked beside his awakened Titan toward the chamber's exit, Velkor wondered which force in the universe would prove stronger, the ancient warnings of the architects, or human curiosity unchained. He suspected he already knew the answer.